Good morning and welcome to SHOWstudio in this beautiful Sunday morning with a blue sky. Spring Summer 19 men's wear in London. I have an amazing panel who's going to help me talk about a cold wall, which is going to happen in a few minutes. So quickly, maybe we want to introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Karen Binns. I am a creative consultant with designers. I'm also an editor and publisher of What Magazine and what-mag.co.uk.
Hi, I'm Joe Bobowicz. I'm a freelance writer and contributor to SHOWstudio.
Hi, I'm Tayler Prince-Fraser and I co-run Basement Approved, which doubles as a digital and creative agency.
I'm Cora Delaney. I work with Taylor too. I do styling and loads of other stuff.
I'm Jessica Bumpus and I'm a freelance fashion journalist.
Okay, great panel. Excited to see this show. What is everybody expecting?
I'm expecting a lot of tropes of like architecture and the design around that, and also kind of like a continued story that he's been building up so far. So working on the idea of like working class British heritage. But I mean, originally he kind of started off with massive amounts of branding and stuff, but I feel like he's kind of moving into a more subtle world, and it's more focusing on the fabrics. I know he's had a lot of investment from Tomorrow Holdings London as of recent, so he's been able to branch out into...
Tomorrow just bought a stake in their, in their brand.
So I'm expecting more of a focus on fabrics.
Sorry to interrupt, but I forgot a very important thing before going into a cold world. I need to acknowledge this amazing set we're sitting on that was made just for us for this season by the incredible designer and artist Ed Mahoney, whom we love a lot. And yeah, I think it's fun and great. So sorry to interrupt. Anybody else about a cold war before watching the show? Yes, Taylor.
I think continuing from what Joe said, one thing that I think a lot of people have grown to love about Cold War is the way that he can incorporate elements of social commentary, particularly about his background, into his collections, and moving away from the overt branding more into, I guess, a realm of like the avant-garde. I think it'd be really interesting to see how he's going to push it, especially with that investment and the reputation the brand's built, where he's going to put it to now. Because obviously each season, each collection, each year's gone by, like it's just been like a massive stepping stone. It's only been 3 years. And
That's very
it's incredible to see, you know, from a graphic on a t-shirt and a hoodie to what we've got now. So,
what do you want to say?
I'm expecting him to prove why he got the funding.
That's a good point.
I think he's here to show and prove I deserve it, because my point of view is a point of view that we haven't really seen enough in streetwear. It's by a guy from the hood, for the guy from the hood, and from everyone else. But most importantly, you know, the misunderstanding of the person from the hood.
Virgil just arrived.
Yeah, well, he's got to support. That's right.
His mentor, yes.
And he's also got to watch him. So, I mean, that's real. But I'm thinking he's showing and proving that there is an intellectual side to wherever you come from. And the hood has just as much depth as any other neighborhood that anybody can come from.
Well, before I let you talk, I just want to say pick up on the fact that you said it's going to show why he got investment. But why he got investment usually is also because there is something commercial in it. So I think one of the interesting thing that Sam did was managing to be streetwear relevant to a certain kind of people, but yet being commercial in pricing, in the way he was designing and selling the brand. So I think that's why a company like Tomorrow decided to buy a stake. I mean, don't forget, they were, first of all, a showroom, so they distribute, and so they really need to sell a lot to make their investment return. Anything else?
Well, I think what's interesting is there's kind of quite a polish and like a layer of tech and utility as well that he adds. So I feel like there's like another layer of streetwear, and certainly in terms of the design. And then seeing some of the shows already across menswear, again, there's sort of like a utility tech sort of thing going on. So I think yeah, he's pushing sort of the conversation forward. So it'll be interesting to see, how much further he goes with that. But I think there's definitely for a brand that's so young as well, like the sort of professionalism and gloss within it is really impressive.
Yeah, and he is young. He's not even 30. And it's quite amazing how fast it took off. I mean, it's already above $1 million in revenues, which is, I mean, if people don't know what that means, it means a lot. I mean, it's incredible. And it's not enough to have mentors like Virgil or to be, you have to be good. Your product has to be good. And so, you know, great.
I mean,
I'm just interested in the front row right now, to be honest.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the front row? I haven't...
It's like such a clique. Like, I know exactly who's going to be there, and it's just like people are coming, like, you know, just like the cool young group in London, like Jordan Vickers, Bakar, like, yeah, it's exactly what I thought.
It's quite big, I think. That's probably the first sign of some investment having come in, because it's a big show suddenly. Joe, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to point out, obviously he comes from like an advertising background, so in terms of like making money, I think whilst he's very creative, he's also aware that without, you know, revenue, income, he can't push like more avant-garde ideas because he needs the money to be able to do that. And I think he's been working on building a clear brand history from the start.
Yeah, he's one of those Renaissance boys or men. You know, he was an art director, and then he worked in advertising, and then he was discovered, and then he was. I mean, yeah, he knows. But one thing I wonder, and I don't know what you think, is that with this, you know, the show is becoming bigger, so the expenditures are bigger, and do you think he will be able to keep his pricing where it is, which is quite low compared to luxury in general?
What we're going to see with a Cold War, you know, he's creating the sister brand Polythene Optics, which he's described as being the more easy to digest for a wider demographic, which will be there as the commerce side of things, and a Cold War will be pushing the avant-garde, the creativity, the innovation. So I don't think he necessarily needs to worry too much about the pricing of a Cold War, as long as he has Polythene Optics there to, I guess, give to the wider demographic.
I've never been a strong believer in second brand, you know, I'm not, you're right what you're saying, but I'm a little bit doubtful about that way of doing things. I think people want to buy a Cold War, and what do we think about this?
I mean, I think personally, don't tell me it's getting ready to start, is it? Sure,
Looks like it.
But yeah, I think, no.
No, it's a person.
Yeah. Well, it shows that he understands the game. What is the game? You have to be more than a designer. You have to be more than a creative director. You have to have someone that understands the level of game that you have to put onto the market, which means you incorporate everything you do within your brand. What is he? Like you said, he's an art director already. He's already covering himself in another way of making money. So he doesn't really have to put all of his energy on one part of what a Cold War is.
Do you think he still works as an art director? No.
No, but because he was an art director, he understands how to make a Cold War as a brand more than just clothes.
Yeah, I think he already went into it.
He understands how to get a job from another label or another company.
That's a good point.
So Cold War is no longer just a brand of clothing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think, again, sort of when, you know, in his bio and everything you were saying he's done, you know, designers, young designers today do need to go into this business knowing that obviously, yes, if they want to create clothes, but if you don't sell them, then there's, you know, there's no creativity without that commercial element. And it's definitely, it's starting. Wow,
it's starting.
Maybe, please do not be too silent, because imagine that people are watching us. And so we will be concentrating on watching, but we still have to entertain our audience.
But I do think there is this, you know, this need to kind of, be a polymath from the beginning and sort of enter fashion knowing that. And I think we're seeing that increasingly amongst designers today.
I really want to know what music is playing.
Exactly, I was going to ask, do we have the sound of the show? There's no sound in the room.
It certainly makes more of an entrance if there's no sound.
I doubt that we don't hear anything, nor the people, nor the...
Well, see, he knows how to make an Instagram moment there.
Oh, that's for sure. That's very well designed.
The whole thing's
art director.
Exactly, There we go, art direction.
What are they wearing? What's the material?
They're like detachable hoods, I think, because he's kind of like continuing on from that whole like detachability, like almost tech wear.
Utilitarian, functional.
I mean, of course, it's an update of last season. It has to be.
Yeah, well, they featured in last season's collection, the hoods.
See what I'm saying? He's not playing any games with anyone now.
No, he is obviously one of the smartest guys in town, and he's obviously going to do really well. So
What I'm liking from this is the elegance
Yeah.
he's bringing from the hood. People have such a wrong interpretation about coming from, you know, an urban point of view. They have this one-track-minded situation about it, and he's letting you have it. He's giving you elegance. He's giving you art form.
It's very emotional what I'm seeing right now, right?
He's giving you depth.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. It seems quite honest and sincere what he's doing, and I might be completely wrong. Someone can tell me you have no idea how it's not, but it looks very honest to me, which...
He's like I said, he's letting you know why they were interested in him. And it's not just because he was cool, because he has a talent. He's put, and I'm being real, there's a lot of people believe in people because people say that they're cool. Cool has got nothing to do with this.
No, that privilege.
This is talent. This is someone has done the work. This is someone that's thinking ahead.
Which is probably what matters in fashion, right?
Completely. And his little DIY update is cute. You know, we know what he's looking at.
So what are we seeing here? What is this? He was talking in the notes. He was talking about a new way of working with synthetic materials, right?
Yeah, so he's reusing
Inflatable vests,
polythene.
This to me looks
Velcro
great.
panels attached to trousers.
I love that model.
I mean, it's a complete utility update, you know. Wherever I have to go, I can carry everything with me in the lightest way possible.
I think it's interesting as well because he's kind of showing the often ignored side of like working class culture. So obviously we have like the grime scene, like the kids involved in that, which he obviously references with the trainers and the like. But he's also kind of referencing things that people might find more boring, like the fact that people are working in factories, the whole utilitarian look, the fact like the trainers are dirty, kind of referencing like a work
Were they
site.
dirty? I didn't notice.
What trainers are they?
The Nikes.
They
I don't know
Nike.
if he recently previewed his concrete object.
I also
line.
saw what it's like when you don't have a car and you have to get on the bus, you have to get on the train, so you have to carry things in different parts of your body. So it's also, for me, it's a workout. So you have your phone here, your book on your other leg, you know, your computer in your back. You don't have a car, you gotta go places to get things done.
They're detachable, so you can also
Take it away.
take
bring
it away and
back.
make it look the way you want to. That's quite amazing what we're seeing.
This is beautiful.
It sort of reminds me more of like the menswear shows you see in Paris, really.
Sorry, I couldn't
it
hear.
sort of reminds me more of the menswear shows that you see in Paris.
Yes,
because it's got that
completely.
More like
sophistication.
conceptual, right.
Yeah, which, as I say, you don't really see that in London so much. It's about a different thing, whereas as you say, elegance, this really pushes it forward.
He creates the soundscapes, doesn't he? Like the sound that we're hearing now is created by him, yeah.
This is where you see every aspect of his talent. Like I said, it's not just about the clothes anymore. It can't be anymore. It's not enough.
Yeah, it's immersive, isn't it?
He says that I don't do clothes just for the sake of it. If clothes don't have a meaning or
There
a
it
deeper
is.
meaning, why would I do clothes? And that's an attitude that is coming more and more in young people creating fashion, which I think it's making it ever more interesting. I don't know if I'm saying something that will make you bark, but not the clothes, but the whole thing reminds me of Rick Owens.
I was
a little
getting ready
bit,
to
the way
say.
Rick is putting together a
Well,
scene.
you know, at least he's influenced by a
very-
genius. You know what I mean?
It's full of meanings, it's full
Yeah.
of depth.
It's
Okay.
so organized. Look at the organization.
It's very art directed.
Oh, completely. This is what I'm saying.
Where
People
is
get
it?
a job as well as sell the
Remember.
clothes.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't think the clothes are suffering themselves as well, like as a result of him putting so much focus on the art direction. The clothes are still gorgeous, like the fabrics, the actual construction of them. He's continuing that kind of like haphazard placing things together, but it equally looks tailored.
I also see him incorporating different markets in this collection. It's not just about the kid on the street. It's the kid on the street in Japan. It's the kid on the street in Paris. It's the kid on the street in New York, Arizona. the mountain climbing kid, the kid who's active.
So these people are bringing in one look every X looks. Did you notice?
Yeah, it's true.
Can we give a meaning to that, or we don't care? We just.
Oh, this is just all for effect. This is to say, I can do this too, in my way, with my point of view.
But there must be a meaning to that.
It's difficult to say what you can imagine someone's thinking about when they're doing this.
We'll be leaving
What
it
you
open for us to
Well,
have our own
they were
idea.
talking about the human being into a space, so building architecture around the body, and I think that's it, right? So that's.
It's the moving installation. He's hot. He's doing moving installations.
That's a beautiful red.
On the catwalk. Hello. You're right. You just brought it to our attention.
What is quite clever though is that it doesn't take away from the clothes, because often if you get shows where they go all kind of singing and dancing, it's exactly, whereas this actually, if anything, magnifies them.
It's interesting to see people like Sam, coming up to our attention here and then. And I always tell people, like, if it doesn't work, somehow it's not that you're unlucky. There's something wrong with it. And then you have the Sam Ross, or before him, J.W. Anderson, that in a way did the same thing. It was more of a holistic aspect to it that becoming an instant success. Or Virgil, like it or not, is an instant success. And they do much more than designing clothes. As you were saying.
Exactly. Yeah. He's on the next level. He's letting everyone know right now, if you're going to go to school to be a designer, you have to come with something else. You just do, because you are not going to stay on top of your game if you're not incorporating more than one entity to your business. This is a complete, stage for everyone to see. Hey, you got to take it further. I love his casting.
But
I was going to say the casting.
I was going to say the casting is unbelievable.
Does he cast himself?
I don't remember. It's in the show notes, I think.
I think he mentions in previous shows that a lot of them have been friends or people he's just met out on the streets, kind of thing.
So street casting, or it's friends and family, or.
So I think some of them are friends and some of them are street cast. But he also cast. I know he's friends with the rapper Reggie Snow, and he cast him in Autumn's 18. So I think it's kind of a mixture. But I think it's basically reflective of his brand, the casting.
And then it doesn't look like he did it because, oh wow, he saw that kind of casting somewhere else. He's not interested. He's there to make a statement and to make it hard. Everybody that's walking can walk with a strength and a power that represents what he's showing. It's not a guy that's skipping up and down.
No, but also they're probably wearing what they would be wearing, which for me, I know it sounds like banal, but it's important, because if you put on something that is not you, then unless you're a professional, then it can look a little bit awkward. These kids,
they're holding it. They're holding it.
There's a lot of Asian people in the show. Did you notice?
Like I said, he understands how to make his money
in
the game.
In China.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the clothes for a little bit. I'm seeing some good things as well. I'm seeing a variety of beautiful things. This is not a hoodie. This is a suit. But it's a modern version of a suit.
It's a suit you can walk a very long time in and feel comfortable.
I think the accessories are really interesting. There are some very interesting bag shapes.
They're made in London by artisans, local artisans in East London, which I think is quite interesting.
Heavy.
It can't be cheap. Made by local artisans in London. So
the color palette's a lot less grey than usual. I feel like originally he was kind of using grey colors, like colors from a council estate, to kind of bring in the idea that people are encased by their surroundings, and dull colors kind of become your surroundings, that becomes your life. And I feel like this is more hopeful, it's more colour, it's kind of showing that the underclass can come up.
Of red.
Yeah.
Very cold red, bluish red, which I think is beautiful, but there is some strong elegance to this.
Yeah.
Do you think...
Extremely. This is what
You're quite...
So I was just going to say, do you think maybe the funding has allowed him to push outside of that
For sure.
monotonous colours? Because obviously playing black, grey and white is so safe, and the ability to incorporate colour.
You have to buy fabrics to use clothes in different colors, so for sure, that's what you were saying. We certainly see by the size of the show, by the the set, everything, the collection, that he's got some money to spend. Okay, here comes the...
oh, wow.
Wait.
I mean, for me, that represents frustration. That's frustration of getting, out of where you are and letting people know that you can make it. You just have to be persistent.
It's a reference.
That's what just happened. Look, it's still happening.
There's someone's birth.
Is there someone naked?
Yeah.
Birth.
Do you not find this interesting that happened right in front of where Virgil's sitting?
In front of who?
In front of Virgil, yeah.
And David Gandy.
Had to, honey. Ooh, he's not having it. I love it.
Okay, he's covered in blood. He's covered in blood, right?
It's almost like he broke down the walls that are encasing him, and it's a rebirth, which is very reflective of his brand.
Oh, look what you just said in front of Virgil, meaning I've come out now.
Bro, literally.
I'm here. Let's
I'm my
go.
own man. I'm standing on my own feet.
Yeah.
He's not standing yet, though.
Honey, he's pulling it together. It's okay. He's there. He made it. He's on the floor. He's there.
This is quite amazing, guys.
Wow.
Do you agree?
Wow.
Spectacle.
Spectacular.
Are we all loving it?
I am
I would pay money
so
to know what
proud
Virgil is
and
saying.
impressed.
Literally.
And so happy for him to be allowed to get a chance to do this, because that's 1% of a zillion kids out here that has this type of talent. And because their dad or their mom, can't afford to give them the tools to develop something like this, he's got a break. But he's got a break because he did the work.
Oh yes, nobody gets a break
He did the work.
just because.
I think people
he didn't give up either.
People are still trying to hold him back. I mean, like,
Yes, they are,
he's clearly more than just streetwear. Like, his clothes go beyond that. It's both high-end and streetwear. And I think, like, he even says, if you look at the
Yes.
amount of black designers
right.
who are, like, actually called high fashion, it's only, like, Grace Wells Bonner, like, Olivier, Balmain, and it's kind of like,
Grace
people just
is not
chuck you into
showing
streetwear
this
to hold you down.
Grace is not showing this season, which probably means
There's space.
yeah, also finance. And so one thing that is very important when he has the great talent, but if he didn't get investment, he couldn't have done this.
No.
But look at what he's done with no investment.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to say, yes, give me the money, give me the chance. I'm going to let you all have it. And he's just let everybody have it. Like for me, when I saw this, I saw a little bit of what Raph has been taking from the neighborhood boy. He's like, really? I am that boy.
Literally.
I'm going to let you all know this is how we do it.
Very interesting.
I just want to watch that scene back again. Like, wait, I need to see it again. I need a different angle.
What I want to see now, but I don't think it's there, is the details, because for instance, the bags, they had
Yeah, we were close.
3D printed handles. So those, by the way, architectural, geometric shapes that you saw on the handle and hanging from the bags, they're 3D printed. So it's not only what we saw, it's the details are important. There are some fabrics that are worked in a certain way. So people and we will soon see the details, and I'm sure it's a very good collection also hanging in a store.
Could you imagine? Yeah.
But it reminded me so much. I couldn't stop thinking about Rick Owens.
Of course not.
And
Because
yet I didn't come in
when
here
you see
thinking
silver and
Rick
beige and yellow, you're going to think Rick.
But the show itself, the music, the mystery, what happens, the
way it made you feel.
theatrical side of it.
You know what's great to also see is that he could be influenced by Rick without copying him.
I was going to say, because it's taking the element of that sort of performance, but then when you look at the clothes that he's doing, they're not Rick Owens at all, and they're constructed, it's like a completely different aesthetic.
Absolutely.
And it's really interesting putting those two together.
Well, I'm not saying it was
Create something
copying.
new. But yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? I just wanted to say that just for...
The same emotion that I
exactly.
get
To make
when
it
I
clear.
see, no, you're right. You're right. But
Because I've seen a lot of people copy,
Yeah.
where he didn't have to.
Exactly, but he hasn't at all, because he's bringing his own aesthetic to the table.
it doesn't look like anything else, right?
He does actually say he purposely doesn't look too much at other people's shows.
I think that's good.
And I mean, I know he is a big user of Instagram and stuff, but I know he doesn't use things like that or Tumblr as mood boards. He tries to look at case studies, like actual real life stories, and build a narrative from that.
Well, from the name of his brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Onwards. But so, yeah, we can't even say inspiration, or does it remind us? I mean, what about streetwear? This is not even streetwear.
No, but it is. From where I'm coming from, I see it hands down. Streetwear, that's why I was saying people who don't have a car. because I'm one of those people. And coming up in New York, when I'm getting on a train, I have to be prepared. And I can't carry the world on my shoulders, so I have to carry it in different parts of my body. It's a very urban way of life. And for me, a lot of girls as well as guys are gonna wanna wear those clothes. But girls that are active but not driving a car. When you're on a bike, it's a perfect thing for bike riders. For people who have things to do and places to go, and they wanna look amazing, and they wanna give you a special effect of how they're feeling, he's giving it to you.
But my point is,
No?
and correct me if I'm wrong, is that sometimes I have to admit I look at streetwear, sportswear, whatever it's called now, and I'm like, really? You know, it's a little bit expensive. This looks like fashion to me.
Oh, it is, hands down.
And that's where, you know, I don't want to mention name now that I said something negative, but I think that's the difference, you know. That's
I see, yeah, it's fat. Well, he's a good,
relevant to certain kind of people, but to all, because that's fashion.
I think
What do we think?
I think if you're taking your interpretation of streetwear, I think you've hit the nail on the head. But I think when people, as a whole, are referring to streetwear, I think that as someone that's come from streetwear, it's normally like a graphic T-shirt, heavy graphics, very simple. Whereas to me, this was like an artistic performance. As you're saying, it's more in line with what someone like Rick Owens would do, as opposed to like a line of graphic T-shirts. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
so I think if we can,
That's what I mean.
if we can change the perception of how streetwear is viewed and look at it from that perspective, it's like, almost like that modern day young person that's just got to get about and do a million and one things, and they need to dress to accommodate that. I'm 100% with you.
Well, I think they have to change the viewpoint of what streetwear means.
Yeah, defining
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, it's become. I
To
think
me,
it's become
streetwear, yeah.
too umbrella a term.
Streetwear is just what you wear in the street.
Don't
Doesn't
we
mean it ain't
all
fat.
wear everything?
Yeah, but you know, but of course it's now becoming more high fashion. It has to. There's no other place to
Why,
go.
because he went too far?
Well, I don't think it's far enough.
I think it started at a basic level, which was the T-shirts, and you can't really go down from a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's what I
You
mean.
can only go up, and people were just looking at like, Samuel obviously growing up, like wearing that sort of stuff, like, okay, cool, like, but how can I elevate this? How can I make it so it's a bit more functional? How can I make it so I can actually use it day to day? And I think
But again, that brings me back to Rick Owens, even
Yeah,
Rick
you're right,
Owens
yeah,
long
yeah.
time ago.
Yeah, you're
That for me is, if I have to position him into a to put him into a box of, that's what
I
Rick
agree.
Owens has always been doing, right?
You're right.
And it's luxury. It is very luxurious.
But I feel like with Rick Owens collections, they're more kind of looks. Obviously, this collection was like a lot of looks, but I feel like you can actually take pieces and wear them separately, and it's a lot more accessible to more
It
people.
kind of
it's
goes back to the
probably
art. It
cleverer.
feels like you could build takeaway
Yeah.
pieces and, you know.
Commercially, it's very clever.
Yeah.
But you know, I was reading the other day that he doesn't he doesn't want to sell in many retailers, so he's very selective. He wants his retailers to know, his wholesalers to know how to display and sell his brand, which is also, you know, for someone so young, quite amazing, because people tend to say, oh, I need this and that, I need to be everywhere, I need to make money. Well, he's being very selective, and he's playing this card, probably scarcity, somehow.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. He doesn't want to like sell out immediately. He's also like very commercially aware. He will partner with the right people, but I think he wants his brand image to be told in the right way. And I think he's been asked, like, would you ever hand your brand over at any point? And he said no, because I don't feel like anyone else can tell the brand story in the same way I can. I think it's very personal to him.
I was going to say, I feel like picking, you know, select stores, that's part of like the branding story. And also, I guess, you know, he has that trust and belief in that it's obviously going to go further, which I think it is, because, you know, when you're aligning yourself with these top retailers, it's very clever. I think it's all
is
part of the
important.
branding.
When you're creating a brand, I think deciding where that brand can be seen, it's very important. But also, on the other hand, when you become so successful and also so press successful, and everybody hear about you, and then they can't have you, they want you even more.
Yeah.
And so then the right people will go to him. It wouldn't even need to knock at doors. Doors would, you know,
Just open.
come to him.
Everybody always
So it's
wants
very
something
smart
that,
strategically as well.
Everyone wants something that they think they might not be able to have. That's the game. He's got a new game, and hopefully people will start listening to that game, because that's the only way you're going to survive right now. It's too much of everything.
Yeah.
So you have to become more exclusive. And that's not being a snob. It's just not everybody in the world has to have your dress. You don't need it.
Yeah, and especially now we live in such a sort of overly saturated world of sort of everything is always everywhere, and so that there's something refreshing.
I think that's what I love about Rick Owens, because not everybody can understand how to wear it. At the same time, he's not asking you to run in his shop either. You like it or you don't. He keeps it moving, and that's why it lasts.
I think with a Cold War, but as was said before, it's the fact that, like, you know, the Rick Owens show is very much like, it's a look. The whole thing is a look. You know, you can take individual pieces, but like more than likely, if you're into Rick Owens, you can be wearing majority. You can be wearing 1, 2, or 3 pieces.
Point of view. Yeah.
With the Cold War stuff, going back to the whole point about like the commercial aspect, you can take, no matter who you are, you can take a piece. Everyone around this table could take a piece, wear it, and be like, yeah, that's cool, that's me. And like,
wear the trackies and can't stop wearing them like
Literally.
every single day. I'm like,
it's
that's
genius.
all I want to wear. It's like the
that's genius.
comfiest bottoms.
It's genius.
It's giving you a point of view, but not then letting you free and allowed to do it the way you want.
It's incredible that he's
It's
able.
commerce.
Yeah, literally, it's incredible that he's able to put on something that was so like avant-garde, so creative and so innovative, especially for him and where he's come from, and still make things that are almost appealing to every single demographic, everyone in that room, everyone watching this. Even people that just might walk past on the high street, walk past his store, see they have a storefront, it would be like, do you know what, like, I can see that. Even if it's just a graphic t-shirt, it's still something they're like, oh, like, that's cool, I want to know a bit more about that. And that's why I think that, like, it's so interesting, like, to follow his story and look at where his trajectory is going to take him, because it's unprecedented, at least in, like, my lifetime, and I've not seen anyone do that.
Well, I interviewed Virgil a while ago, and one of the things he said to me was like, because I was sort of like looking at life and being pessimistic, optimistic, and I sort of said, which time would you prefer to live in? And he said, now, because, you know, we have the ability to do like whatever we want now. We're so in touch, we're so connected. So it's kind of great that optimism is clearly, you know, Sam's got, and he's just like, right, I'm doing it, which is...
That was represented in him breaking down those 4 walls, like, that person literally got out of that vat of whatever and broke down the walls. Like, if it wasn't apparent enough that he was already doing that, he literally just got up to like the world of fashion and said, I'm breaking down these walls, don't put me in it, and I'm going to push myself to where I need to be. And like, that's just...
That's very interesting, because I totally agree. I also wouldn't want to live in any other time, but I think the most interesting thing that happens thanks to the new generation that are coming up and doing things is that they show us how much more free they are than what we were. And
I don't know.
But it's true. I mean, it's true. And you just said it very beautifully, you know. And that adds to fashion, because there was a moment where else can it go? You know, it's fashion. It's also one does it like this and one does it like that. But now there is this whole new generation that are revolutionizing also the way we consume and wear fashion.
Exactly, yeah.
Sure.
Not only the way we conceive fashion, but the way we consume it, and that's very good for the industry as well, because people are starting to buy again, to want again, to consume again, right?
I also think this shows that he's not asking everybody that people say are the right people, because to me, no one's the right people, no one's the wrong people. Looks like he has his own point of view, and he's sticking to it.
Which is always
I
the
think
best.
that's important. Right now, with what's going on, everyone's always pushing people to work with this person or that person. He doesn't need it, and you can tell. You can tell that he has a very strong point of view, and he's sticking to it without any... He doesn't look confused. I think that's the best way of saying it.
It's very British what he's doing. It's like he's found his space in the market. Obviously, Virgil Ablow's done quite a similar thing, but Virgil Ablow's is more general. And it appeals to a lot more people, whereas this feels very...
Well, it feels like he studied contemporary art as well.
Yeah.
So
What do we think about the fact, I already heard someone saying, yes, you know, working class and doing things for them and showing them where he comes from and what they can achieve, and then he's becoming now rich, he already talks about his first million. So how will he have to balance the fact that, you know, I believe that you can be as rich as you want and still belong and still do good, but do you see what I'm trying to say?
He's still very much involved with the grassroots. He like emails, there's a page called Cold War Buy, Sell and Discuss. He emails the young people on that because they have like an immediacy. They want those clothes immediately when they come out. He emails them to tell them when the new drop's coming. So he's still involved at the very base level.
He created a Facebook fan page or something
did it?
where
Yeah, it was-
he doesn't have to answer personally.
Yeah,
but
and he's given like a
which is quite genius.
personal password to some people so they can get it. Like the most, yeah, there's like the most loyal fans were given a password for when before the store, like before it came out on the online store, and they were able to get it first. So he's clearly like respecting his most loyal fans from the beginning.
And how do we compare this to people like Gosha Rubinski? I'm very interested in, or not compare, but you see what I mean? Someone else who...
I think what's really interesting about is Gosha's obviously like, it's a very similar, it's exploration of like a very specific demographic that
Exactly.
he was and that's very similar to what Samuel Ross has done. I think that what Samuel Ross has done is focus on something that is universal, which is class. And I think that a lot of people, it would be so easy for him to talk about, he could have talked about the Windrush and his parents. He could have talked about the black unity, which would have been great, but it would have been very isolating and it wouldn't have appealed to us. Exactly, and I've always said that, like, for me, class is such a bigger scope, such a more powerful thing to talk about than to talk about skin color. So for me, I think that's where almost he kind of, they're very, very similar. One's coming from like a very, Eastern sphere, one's coming from a very Western sphere. I think that what they're doing for both is absolutely incredible.
So do you think Gosha was as smart and did
For me, I think in terms of a design aspect, I think Samuel Ross has more in the bag. You can quite clearly see from that show in comparison to like any of the other shows, what he's done is like paramount. Like we're talking about comparing it to someone like a Rick Owens show. I've never sat around a table and compared anything Gosha's done to anyone of that
level.
Not to say that what Gosha isn't doing is.
There you go. That's what I wanted to hear.
Literally.
I mean, I just don't want to be subjective here and say what I like, aesthetic or not, because nobody cares. But I think we are at a different level. I think
I don't
even though
you don't feel it. You don't
feel it.
You don't feel it, and I think that's what it comes down to.
There's one thing which is the same with all of these people. Like they say, it's like, oh, for boys in the hood, like it's streetwear, blah blah blah. But the price points is not there for them. Like,
no, but this is another thing. Just because from the hood doesn't mean you want to spend money on clothes. We're not looking for something cheap. I never looked for something cheap. But you see what I'm trying to say? It's like, that's a whole nother misunderstanding. People want value. They want luxury from the hood because they have something to prove.
So
all
what, they go
their
and
life.
work extra time
all
to
their
be
life.
able
I
to
will always
afford
have, as a kid, I had more to prove than my friend who wasn't from my neighborhood. So I spent extra money and I got the real deal. So never think, oh my God, we have to make it cheaper because they won't be able to afford it. No, that's what they're looking for.
I don't know, but for Nazir, for instance, like he always wanted kids to be able to buy his stuff, but he couldn't make it for the price that he wanted to.
That's why Samuel Ross has created polythene optics, which, whether or not people like. It's like that's an accessible way to engage with like that concept of a Cold War, a more digestible point, because it's just graphics. It's not something that's intricately made. It's not playing with like technical fabrics or whatnot or form. But it's also a more accessible price point. T-shirts, hoodies, like 120 quid. Whereas if you go on like a Cold War's website, starting price for a t-shirt is like 158. And that's like last season. This season, it's definitely going to be more.
I do believe, like, I hear what you're saying. I do believe he will make something slightly more affordable. But just remember, the people who say they don't want to spend more than 25 pounds for a t-shirt, they just won't be wearing Cold War.
Literally, it's a
But there is a difference
that weren't really the
between
point I was
25
thinking.
and 350 pounds for a
Of course, there's a middle ground.
There's a middle ground.
There's a middle ground.
And that's why I think polythene optics is going to be that middle ground, so it's not too isolating. And for me, that's you going back to your point about, being this story about working class and now moving about talking about making his first million. Like for me, like he's still working class. Like his attitude, like if you hear him speak, if you see like the way that people write about him and the way that he carries himself, he's working class through and through. And this is a conversation I've had with my friends. Growing up on a council estate, and then you move into a place where you can talk about buying this like £1,000 whatever, this £2,000, buying this, buying that. Like, are we still working? Like, well, yeah. Like, I'm still turning like the taps off. I'm still getting tap water. I'm still doing all these things. I'm still looking at. I'm still like. And that's for me, it's like a working class attitude that you never lose, no matter what heights you ascend to.
That's a good thing to hear. So, I've never met him, I don't know him, so I cannot judge the person, but I think he's a very, very clever man. So.
I mean, I heard him speak in Copenhagen, and he was the most eloquent young boy I've ever heard speak. Like, I was so impressed. I mean, just the way he speaks about life and about clothes and how he feels about things, his viewpoint. He was flawless. And I was like, wow, this is the best inspiration for young people right now. It's more than just being, like I said, what is cool? Cool is doing the work. Cool is going that little bit further than what you're told is okay. And you know, his struggle will always be more than the other designer's struggle. Just will. And he knows it, and he's doing it, you know?
And just quickly before closing, because some of us have to go to some shows.
Yeah, I do.
I just want a word about Off-White and Virgil's work and what you did with Off-White, and how do we compare or not compare, or?
I think you learned from Virgil's mistakes, actually. Virgil has been massively criticised. I think Virgil's great, I'm not going to deny that, but I think he's been massively criticised for having his finger in too many pies. He's done like collaborations with like Takashi Murakami, like at Gagosian, and I went and saw it and I just thought it was rubbish.
Lazy.
It was lazy, there wasn't much to it. Whereas with Samuel Ross, everything he's doing is subtle, considered, it builds upon his thesis, it makes sense. Like Virgil Abloh has done collaborations with anyone and everyone.
We put some Off-White
And
images
it
on.
just does, some of them don't make sense to me, whereas this, everything he's done, every like reference he's made has a particular like connection to British like culture. I think that's why it's good.
I think on that point though, I would argue that Virgil had to have his fingers in that many pies in order to be able to break down the industry to allow someone like Samuel Ross to come through and be, you know, very meticulous and micromanage every element of his brand, because he needed that platform, you know.
Yeah.
I guess for me, like obviously Kanye came through, broke it down, like his interest in LV from like his collaboration started in 2008 on his first trainer, I think. And like he broke it down, obviously he didn't do it right. And then Virgil's come on, like surpassed him, been appointed to where he's been appointed to. And then for me, if I was Virgil and I was watching that, I'd be like, I hope my show is going to be fire come a couple of weeks.
A little bit worried.
Literally, it's incredible.
I'd be feeling some type of way if I saw that.
Especially that he's going to do it under the Louis Vuitton signature, so no
even
pressure.
more
He still has Off-White though, he still has Off-White, so.
Still has Off-White, but he's going to be watched much more next week in
Yeah.
Paris. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, biggest brand.
Think about it, Virgil
After
called
Kim
him.
Jones.
Yeah, it's true. Oh yeah, which is gonna be a hard act to follow. But Virgil, I think he started the game that Samuel's playing.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the day, Virgil's always gonna think ahead.
I was there first.
Right.
His mentor.
Let me hold it
that's why
down.
I'm coming to his show.
Yeah, but Virgil's gonna be a little bit. He's gonna feel some type of way, because I would.
100%.
I mean, he got a
But it make him feel
guy
proud,
covered
too.
in blood, getting out, breaking out of a wall in front of him.
To me, the moving installation was like, whoa, that hurts, because it was so well done.
Okay, well, I guess he has owned a big round of applause from us.
Oh, completely. Killed it.
Well done.
Killed it.
Thank you
Well
so
done.
much.